Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to welcome you to the Middle Tennessee Council 2015 Eagle Scout and Volunteer Recognition Reception. My name is Greg Cashin, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's events. This is a very special day where we will recognize our Eagle honorees, our Eagle Scouts, our Venturing Silver Award, Silver Beaver recipients, Walter R. Courtney Scholarship recipients, and the Adams National Eagle Scout Service Project of the Year Award. Please enjoy today's events.
The 110 million young men who have worn the Scout uniform have left their marks on almost every major event in recent American history. Sometimes the organization itself helped to shape events. The Boy Scouts of America planned massive war bond drives during World War I and organized efforts to collect scrap metal during World War II. It launched early campaigns to prevent drug abuse during the 1970s and 80s. Today, it regularly sponsors nationwide community service initiatives, mobilizing its 125,000 Boy Scout troops, Cub Scout packs, and other units.
Most important, however, Scouting has influenced America through its Eagle Scouts. As Scouts, not only did these young men learn skills, they also developed character. They learned to persevere as they climbed through the ranks. They learned about ethics as they followed the examples of their leaders. They developed a sense of duty to others as they served their communities, and they grew into true leaders, tested by experience on countless expeditions and projects. That combination of skill and character remained with them as they entered various stages of adult life. And when they faced choices and challenges as soldiers and statesmen, teachers and parents, the virtues they exercised at critical junctures in our history shaped the nation for the better.
At this time, I'd like to ask all Scouts and Scouters to please rise, make the Scout sign, and join me in reciting the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And now please join me in reciting the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2.
Now would you please stay standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're a Scout and you're in your field uniform, please do the Scout sign salute. If you're in regular civilian clothes, please put your hand over your heart. Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Now would you please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Scouts. It's good. I'm honored to be with you here today. I'm a big believer in the Scouting program and those we're honoring today. The Middle Tennessee Council is one of the largest Boy Scouts councils in the country. Recently, we reported to the State House of Representatives and the State Senate and the Governor's Office that we had over 46,782 Scouts and adult volunteers in our program throughout the state of Tennessee. It was reported also how many scouts have given back in so many ways. Food and clothing drives, senior citizen assistance, construction on nonprofit properties such as churches and parks. We are especially thankful to our Eagle Scouts here today for what they have given back to the communities of Middle Tennessee through both your service for several years in scouting and your Eagle projects. Each of our Eagle Scouts organized, planned, and built an Eagle Scout project. And they built it with leadership of their troop, with their friends from their school, church, and communities, and especially with their family. Will our Eagle Scouts stand at this time and allow us to show our appreciation to you and to the service of our communities? Thank you very much. Now, today, each Eagle Scout present has an Eagle Table host mentor who is sitting with them and giving them career and life skill advice. We thank you, the mentors, for your participation in today's event. Will all Eagle Taste host mentors please stand at this time? Thank you. You can see the list of these Eagle mentors at your table. Now, I would like to call on J.B. Baker, our council president, to come forward and present our first award of the day, the Eagle Honoree Award. J.B.
If you would, Greg, would you remain for a short moment?
Yeah.
Off script.
Off script. I hate it when they do that.
Presentation. Mr. Cashin, for the many, many hours you've given this great council, we thank you, not only for today, but for the many assignments you've accepted so gracefully. We're in appreciation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, future honorees as Eagles, we have two gentlemen today who are the honorees of your class. And the Eagle class honoree has a history that started in 1949. The first honoree was Mr. L.G. Boxwell, known better as Box. And of course, many of you, I'd say most all of you know and can figure out he was a part of Camp Boxwell, both by land giving and formation of that particular camp. So we're indebted to that start in 1949. The Eagle class honorees started in 1950. And since that date, there has been 123. These two fine gentlemen today do have a special class in their own. You will see that we have bios of each individual, both of which I can personally stand for. Steve, in the fact of going to college with him in Pulaski, Tennessee, and better than yet, having his father to cut my hair off of East Main Street in Pulaski. And he's been a part of your camp tradition for many, many years and being saluted for that. Joe Russell, no doubt, is a true Nashvilleian by standards, both professionally and all the other measures of good being. Joe has touched many lives in many ways. He spent many, many days in foreign countries preparing his shoes for this great country of ours, and was a pioneer in kind of the breakthrough in the shoe business. We're very honored to have both of these two as being your leaders for the Eagles today. And I'd like to ask those Eagles to stand and give them applause. Up, Eagles.
Will Carl Adkins please escort Steve and Judy Eubank to the stage? Steve Curry Eubank, born in Pulaski, Tennessee, to Mr. and Mrs. Smith Eubank, the youngest of three boys, followed in the footsteps of his older brother to become an Eagle Scout. He joined the Cub Scouts at the age of 8 and continued throughout his life with 60 years of scouting now behind him. Scouting's always been an important part of Steve's life. He loves the outdoors and activities like camping, hiking, and fishing. He holds a degree in education from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and retired in 2002 from the Giles County school system after 30 years of service. Steve has been married to his wife, Judith Parker Eubank, for 43 years. They have one daughter, Ashley Eubank Cates, son-in-law Tripp, and 2 grandchildren, Parker and Adeline Jane. Steve's the recipient of the Long Rifle and the Silver Beaver Awards. He's been Scoutmaster of Brown Sea and Wood Badge and is still active as a member of the David Crockett District. In recognition of his continued service to Scouting and his community, the Middle Tennessee Council honors Stephen Curry Eubank as a 2014 Eagle honoree. Will J.B. Baker please escort Joe and Ann Russell to the stage? Joseph Russell's an Eagle Scout and member of the Order of the Arrow. Joe has served in many capacities in the Boy Scouts of America. Joe's been Middle Tennessee Council President, Chairman of the Board, and an Executive Board member for many years. Joe's also been Vice President of Administration and Finance. Whenever asked to serve, Joe has been a willing participant. Joe has also been a longtime patron and supporter of the Friends of Scouting campaign, where he has helped raise untold dollars for Scouting. Joe is co-CEO of Elan Polo International. Joe is a University of Tennessee graduate. He has a deep love for the family farm on which he lives. He and his wife Ann attend Forest Hills Baptist Church. It is with great pleasure that the Middle Tennessee Council Boy Scouts of America honors Joseph V. Russell as a 2014 Eagle honoree.
Well, this concludes the first Eagle honorees. Thank you and congratulations to Joe Russell and to Steve Eubank. At this time, please welcome Dr. Gary Mueller to the podium for the presentation of the Walter R. Courtney Eagle Scout Scholarship Award. Dr. Mueller.
Thank you. It's my privilege to announce the award of the Walter R. Courtney Scholarship today. The Reverend Dr. Walter Rowe Courtney was the long-serving senior pastor at First Presbyterian Church. He served from 1944 to 1971, 27 years. Walter was an extremely dedicated scouter and received the Silver Beaver Award from this council in 1969. In recognition of his dedication to scouting and his dedicated service, Raymond T. Throckmorton, Jr., affectionately known as Mr. T to all who knew him, endowed this scholarship. Mr. T received the Silver Beaver from this council in 1985. Today, we award the 49th and 50th Courtney Scholarships. Our first recipient is Michael S. Fox. Michael? Michael's with Troop 182 in the Cherokee District, and his scoutmaster is Jerry Lockhart. He received his Eagle on the 2nd of October, 2014. He has 26 merit badges at the time of his award. He earned the Arrow of Light as a Cub Scout, and he has the World Conservation Award. In terms of BSA leadership, he's been an assistant patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, quartermaster, den chief, and he participates in all troop activities. He's a Brotherhood member of the Wahanasa Lodge. He does food drives, cleanups, and participates in cemetery flag placement activities. A junior at Aaron Academy, he's an honors student in the college prep program. He's also enrolled in Volunteer State Community College in advanced placement courses. He's a pianist, he's a debater, a chess player, and he's played football, basketball, soccer, and tennis. At Clark Memorial United Methodist Church, he's involved in his youth group, he's an acolyte and an usher. He's done room at the inn, taught Sunday school, participated in vacation Bible school teaching, Meals on Wheels, and the United Methodist Men's activities. His Eagle project benefited F.A. Jenkins Elementary School in North Nashville. He based his project on Matthew 20, verses 1 through 16, which is the parable of the vineyard workers. He did an extensive grounds cleanup and developed a very nice outdoor classroom for them of 572 square feet. There were 1,200 volunteer hours in the project and a budget of $7,600. Ordinarily, I read from the recommendation letters that people write for the Courtney applicants. But his letter of his life purpose is so remarkable that I thought you might like a few words. I chose their school because they needed something unique. Matthew 21 through 16 talks about the parable of the workers in the vineyard and taught me that doing what's right is sometimes more important than doing the fair thing. Some might say that it's not fair that I chose to do this project for a school that practices a different denominational teaching and with which I had no previous relationship. It might not be fair, but it's right. I knew that F.A. Jenkins Elementary School would benefit from this more than anyone else I had considered. I want the students to know that people care about them and that it is good to volunteer and serve in their community. I tried to do the right thing with whatever decision I was faced with, and I hope that they will learn from me and try to do the same. Congratulations, Michael. Equally awesome, and that is an appropriate use of the word, is Miller C. Garrett. Miller, come on up. He's with Troop 137 of the Natchez Trace District, and his scoutmaster is John M. Green. He received his Eagle on the 2nd of September 2014. He had 31 merit badges at the time of the board. He earned an Arrow of Light, a God and Country Award, and he also has a God and Family Award. In terms of BSA leadership, he's been an assistant patrol leader, a librarian, a historian, a patrol leader, and a National Jamboree assistant patrol leader. He's a Brotherhood member of the Wahanasa Lodge. In that capacity, he served as the Lodge registration chairman and the chairman of chapters, and I have just learned that he is now the Lodge Chief, Vice Lodge Chief for program for our Lodge. He has served as a counselor in training at Boxwell Scout Reservation. He attends Battleground Academy, where he is an honors student, a member of the National Honor Society, and is ranked in the top 5% of his class. He holds a Board of Trust scholarship from Battleground Academy. He too plays the piano. He's run cross country. He can shoot pretty good because he's been on the Trap and Skeet Club, and he's also been on the tennis team. He's received a Rotary Youth Leadership Award for their summer program, and he's also been selected for one of their prestigious programs this summer. In terms of college, he's thinking about being an engineer, which would make Mr. Throckmorton very happy. At Franklin United Methodist Church, he participates in the choir, and he's also been an acolyte. In terms of his Eagle project, he helped rehab what was called the Holt property in Franklin, which involved the expansion of the Franklin Library Park. It involved work for the Historic Preservation Foundation and the Battle of Franklin folks. This involved clearing and rehabilitation of some really rough terrain. He was resourceful enough that he was able to scrounge a bulldozer to help with the project and didn't have to pay for it, which was really great. So let me share a couple of quotes from the Heritage Foundation Executive Director about Miller. For a young man of 16, Miller has been involved in just about every area of the Heritage Foundation. His recent Eagle Scout Service project is a prime example of historic preservation. He led a massive effort to clean out underbrush and trees and clean up a vital piece of the reclaimed Battle of Franklin battlefield. This area will be part of the new Carter's Hill Park. If the Heritage Foundation has hosted an event, Miller has worked as a volunteer, donating his time and being a great ambassador for youth of today. An outstanding student, a community leader, and a leader of scouting. What more could you ask for? Congratulations, Miller.
Thank you, Dr. Miller, and thanks to Michael Fox and Miller Garrett for exceptional service. At this time, we welcome Dr. Ian Romaine to the podium for the presentation of the Glenn A. and Melinda Adams National Service Project of the Year Award. This award is to recognize valuable service by an exceptional nature by a scout to a religious institution, a school, a community, or another entity while doing his Eagle Scout Service project. Ian.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. In 2009, I wanted to give you a little background on the Adams Award. So in 2009, the future chairman of the National Eagle Scout Association decided that we needed something to help us recognize the top project, Eagle Scout project, in every council. And from those council winners, they choose a regional winner and a national winner. So for the last 6 years, we've been able to recognize what the top Eagle Scout project is. And this year, for the first time that we've ever had this happen, I could say just ditto. But this year's winner of the Adams Eagle Scout Service Project of the Year Award is Mr. Michael Fox. Michael, as you heard earlier, did a great project for an elementary school here in Nashville. Things that he did for the school is he made an outdoor classroom. He then took, on top of that, built a cistern so they could recycle rainwater. On top of that, he did outdoor rain garden that the elementary school kids can now use for their STEM projects, something that's very big in the academic world today. For that, Michael logged over 1,200 hours in his Eagle project, and with contributions of over $7,500. With that, we'd like to congratulate Michael on his Adams Eagle Scout of the Year, Eagle Service Project of the Year Award for the Middle Tennessee Council.
Thank you, Ian. And thanks to Michael Fox. When I was reviewing the awards, I said, "Is this a typo?" They said, "No, this is Michael Fox." So thank you very much. At this time, I would like to call on Dr. Robert Bell, Emeritus President of Tennessee Tech University, to come up and introduce our keynote speaker, NASA astronaut Andrew Allen.
Well, good afternoon. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Andy Allen. Andrew Allen is the CEO of Aerodyne Industries and currently serves as Jacobs Engineering General Manager of Jacobs Space Operations Group at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. This operation provides overall management and implementation of ground systems capabilities, flight hardware processing, and launch operations at Kennedy Space Center. The program support includes the International Space Station, the ground systems development and operations at KSC, the Space Launch System, Orion Multi-Crew Vehicle, and the Launch Services Program. Previous to this, Mr. Allen held executive assignments with Honeywell, as you've seen in the biographical information in your program. He served as Vice President of International Military Aircraft Operations, Vice President of Space Systems Sales and Marketing, and Vice President of Space Programs and Requirement. Prior to that, Mr. Allen worked for United Space Alliance, the prime contractor for NASA operations and the maintenance of the space shuttle fleet. He also managed operations in astronaut training and the mission control operations. His most recent position with United Space Alliance was program manager for ground operations, where he was responsible for managing and leading over 4,000 employees performing space shuttle processing, launch, and landing operations at Kennedy Space Center. We know him best for his work as a NASA astronaut. Selected in June 1987, he is a 3-time spaceflight veteran and space shuttle commander. With over 900 hours in space, during his 10 years with NASA, he also served a number of technical and management assignments, culminating in his assignment as the director of the International Space Program. Previously, before NASA, Mr. Allen was a commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps. He flew F-4 and F-18 aircraft, graduated from the Marine Weapons and Tactics Instructors Course, the Naval Fighter Weapons School, Top Gun, and the United States Navy Test Pilot School. Mr. Allen has logged over 6,000 flight hours in more than 30 different military aircraft. He holds distinguished honors, including the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Single Mission Air Medal, the NASA Outstanding Leadership Medal, the NASA Exceptional Service Medal, and the NASA Space Flight Medal. He's a member of the Society of Experimental Test Pilots, the Association of Space Explorers, and serves on the advisory board for the University of Florida Business School. Mr. Allen holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Villanova University and an MBA from the University of Florida. He also holds 3 honorary doctorates in public service, engineering science, and aerospace management. He is accompanied here today by his wife, Brenda, and 2 of his 4 children, John Charles, who achieved Eagle rank last year in 2014, and son Matthew, who's on the trail to Eagle as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the Middle Tennessee Council, Andy Allen.
Well, thank you very much. It is not normal for me to have notes when I do any kind of a presentation, but since this is such a special audience and an intimidating audience to me, I thought I would take some notes so I don't get myself all flustered while I'm up here today. I am honored to be here. I have admiration and honor for those young folks here that have made that rank of Eagle Scout. One of those things that I did not get an opportunity to do. And for the folks that work so hard to make it go so well for them and help them achieve their goals and really bring their talents to bear and their dedication to bear and their esprit to bear. I just want to thank you all also. It's a tremendous program. It's a great program. And I would tell all the young folks here in the audience that you're way ahead of where I was when I was at your age. So the journey that I have taken so far is a journey that you all could choose to take if you so desired, or it's a journey that might help you think about the journeys that you want to take. I mean, life really is a journey. And you're going to eventually get to a destination. If you listen to my bio, you might wonder whether or not that's because I have a short attention span or whether I'm trying to bring in a lot of different careers into a very short lifetime. Life really is very short, and I'm trying to pack the most into it that I possibly can. And maybe I do have a little bit of a short attention span, but I've been extremely honored and privileged to have done many of the things that I have done in my career and have had so many people mentor me along the way. There was no doubt in my mind that I would not have ever been able to do a fraction of what I have done without the kind of mentorship and support that I have received. You can put a slide up there if you get a chance. I only brought one slide. And my slide was to try to explain a lot of different things in a very short period of time. So I'm going to try to give that a shot here. The first thing is a lot of what I have done has been the result of a lot of people helping me get there. Nowhere have I done something that I did it all by myself. It was either my family, my teachers, my coaches, my team, whatever it was, other supporters that have helped me achieve the things that I've achieved. And I think I have achieved a fair number of things. And it's been a wonderful journey, and it's been a wonderful experience. And I would tell any of you to go for it and do it. And I'd recommend anything that I've done to my friends. But there's been plenty of things that haven't gone so well along the way. And those are the kinds of things that I thought I'd just spend a few minutes chatting about here this morning. I'm not going to take too much of your time. And I'm generally not one that talks too long, but I have been known to talk for a little while. So I have one of my sons here is going to give me the cut signal if I go too long. So let's see. What I want to try to do is bring some things into perspective. Perspective is my perspective on how I see things and the journey that I have taken to get here to have this opportunity to talk to you today, as well as the journey that I've been on for a while in my life, because I'm coming into, I don't think it's towards the end of my journey. I think I've got quite a few more years left, but I have been around for a long time, and I've got a lot of miles on me. If you read some of the bio, I don't know how many millions of miles I have on me, but I've been around, and I got a lot of miles. So the perspective is what you see right up front, what you see in this room, what you see at your table. But there's a bigger perspective, and you always want to make sure that the bigger perspective comes through. I put this slide up here because I try to put some things in perspective. I will give you my perspective of a few things. I'm not a very good storyteller, but I do have a lot of stories. And I thought I would share a couple of them with you. And my focus is really for some of you young folks that have some adventures to go, and you're really just starting out, but you have a great place and a great start to go from, to take your journeys from. The other perspective is the big perspective, the big picture, the things that are out there. This is a rendition of the Milky Way galaxy that's up here. Milky Way galaxy probably has a few 100 billion stars in it. The Milky Way galaxy is probably scientists don't really know, but maybe 125, maybe 150 light years in diameter. Light year is about 6 trillion miles. Light year is how fast light will travel in a year's time. The light from the sun to us takes about 8 minutes. So what you see is about 8 minutes old when you look up at the sky, if you look towards the sun. We have a Hubble Space Telescope out there that's looking back in time. It's not really, but by the time that the photons and the light enters the Hubble Space Telescope, where it's looking out into this broad galaxy that we have, it might be 12 billion years old, and the time it's taken for that light to travel to get into that telescope. So we can look back essentially 12 billion years and maybe see some of the beginning of the universe that we know. In retrospect or in perspective, we might be in a place that people that are our ancestors were in 500 years ago or 600 years ago. So we're just beginning this journey that can take us off this planet and move us into other places. Excuse me, and everybody has a role to play. So I wanted to share a couple perspectives as I went through the different careers that I seem to have had. They were all great. They were all just tremendous honors and tremendous opportunities for a young person and then a middle-aged person to get, and now maybe an older person to get. But they nonetheless were all significant events. And I moved through those events, starting out as an individual contributor, as I would call it, and a person just focused on my performance, my individual performance, how well I would do, how well I could do my job, and how hard I had to work to make sure I didn't let down my team that I was on. So a lot of the military pilot world that I lived in as a fighter pilot, it was really making sure that I performed, that I was the one that would get the job done, that I was the one that could get into the targets, get my bombs on targets, outmaneuver the opponents, whatever I needed to do. It was about being an individual performer. And if I made a mistake, then generally the mistake or the repercussions of the mistake were mine, meaning that I could make a bad mistake and it would be fatal to me, but I wouldn't hurt anybody else other than me. And I'll tell you in a little bit that that's actually a lesser stress than the stress of starting my own company up, or my decisions and my impacts actually would have impact to my entire family. To me, that was a higher stress than just worrying about me all the time. So there's a couple different thoughts that people have as they think about decisions that young people make and trying to make their influence on young people. And there's two schools that I talk about, and none of them are really of high acclaim, even though I do hear people about them. One's the school of hard knocks, and a lot of people use that school, either themselves saying, yeah, I've gone through the school of hard knocks, and I've learned this, and I've learned that. And I've taken a few lessons there, but there's a better school out there, and it's the better school of lessons learned. I call it the Lessons Learned Academy. And the Lessons Learned Academy is to learn from other people's mistakes and other people's accomplishments and learn from it as opposed to having to be the one to experience. And I say that because in my life of doing what I've done and taking the kinds of risks that I've taken, all of which were calculated risks. I've never been completely flamboyant and cavalier about my risk. I've always taken what I thought were very calculated risks, knowing that I lived in a very risky environment sometimes. And the lessons learned, one of my goals as a young fighter pilot was to always be sitting down when somebody was telling a story of what happened in an airplane. Generally, what happened in the ready rooms, the guys that had something happen to them or the guys that made a bad mistake had to stand up in front of the rest of the pilots and explain what they did, why they made a mistake, and what they learned from that mistake or what happened to them. And I never wanted to be one of those people. I always wanted to be one of the ones that could just sit there and listen and say, yeah, I'll never do that. Yeah, I'll never do that. But many of those things I did anyhow. But it's a very tough environment. It was very tough. So the School of Hard Knocks didn't work very well in that environment because a lot of the people that tried that School of Hard Knocks, and I've heard some parents say, well, they make their own choices. I'm going to let them make their choices. Well, maybe so, but maybe not, because some choices actually may affect you for the rest of your life and may, in some cases, be fatal. I have probably gone to 47 memorial services when I was a fighter pilot of acquaintances, and in some cases, people that I looked at as my very best friends. And nowhere in those memorial services did anybody ever talk about that person was a bad pilot, that person was a lousy pilot. Some of the circumstances were circumstances no pilot in the world could ever change. They just happened to be in the airplane when a fuel leak over a hot bleed air manifold occurred and the airplane blew up, or an engine cavitated, or turbine blades finally had their final stress fracture and blew up the airplane. So nobody could do anything about those. But then there was a lot. I lost one of my best friends who just got a little bit disoriented because there was no horizon one day when he was flying doing air combat, and the ocean looked like the sky. It was a hazy day, and you couldn't tell the distinction, and he ended up flying into the water. One of the best pilots I've ever met. So those hard knocks aren't very good hard knocks. You want to learn, you want to live, you want to be lucky, and you want to understand what other people's experience have been so you can go forward and not have to repeat those. And there's a lot of other people taking care of me in this process also in my career path. There's a lot of people that were there helping me better myself. Once upon a time in a squadron, in my early days of a squadron, we had these things called kangaroo courts where we tease each other about things and try to make a joke about observations that we make with each other. And I came out of one of them and I got the award of least likely to live past 30. And for a little while I didn't understand that because I was very cavalier. I had no fear. I took every and any risk that was ever come my way. But when I went to all these memorial services, I realized that they were all good pilots. They made mistakes. And I'm going to make mistakes too. So maybe I should fly a little bit scared. Maybe that's a better way for me to fly and think about things instead of ever let myself get complacent or let myself get too confident or too arrogant in my own abilities, because it only takes a split second to go from hero to zero. It only takes a split second to change your life. One decision can make a significant impact for the remainder of your lives and many others. So let's go through a couple life's lessons along the way, and I'll try to tell a little story that go up with some of those. Always have a plan. Always have a backup plan. Always plan that your plan's going to change. So whatever plan you have, that's great. You need to start out with a plan. My daughters aren't here. If our daughters were here, they would easily tell you that every boyfriend that I ever interviewed, or probable boyfriend that I ever interviewed, they would always get what's your plan? Tell me what your 5-year plan is. What's your 10-year plan? What are you going to be like later on in life? And most of them would sit there and just have this dumbfounded look on their face. Like, what kind of a question is that? I don't know. I like what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything. And then I'd tell my daughters they should never see that person again. Or I'd make up some nickname and never call them by their real name. Those plans are always going to change. And just don't ever give up because of those plans. Expect that they're going to change. You go into a firefight, or you go into a deep airstrike mission, or you go into space, or you go into the venture of a new company where you're trying to sell something or sell services or products. You're going to have a plan. You're going to have a business plan, or you're going to have a strike plan, but your plan is going to change. It's guaranteed your plan is going to change. So some people get flustered by it. Some people just need to work and learn how to adapt to those plans. Anybody that's in the military knows that there's a plan, and the plan's always going to change, and that's okay. You just learn how to go live with all of that. We have a thing out there, at least from the military perspective, we call know your enemy, but it's know your adversary. Sometimes your adversary might even be yourself. So think about who your adversary might be, but part of all that is knowing who you are. So from a military perspective, as a fighter pilot, I would train and I would study to learn each and everything I could learn about the other people's who would be a potential adversary of their airplanes, all about their airplanes, their performance patterns, what they could do, what they couldn't do. Learn about their pilots, their training, their proficiencies, how many flight hours they fly a month. And we would practice that, and we would study that, and that's how we would go beat our adversary. Sometimes your adversary can be a friendly, meaning competitive. So the world's full of a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of people that wanted to be astronauts. The hardest part about being an astronaut is getting selected to be an astronaut. And I was lucky because every once in a while they need a token Marine to be an astronaut. So I happened to be the token Marine that year. They have plenty of Air Force guys. They have plenty of Navy guys. But they needed a Marine every once in a while. And maybe an Army guy every once in a while. So I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. But you got to work harder than that competition, and that's how you get there. Whether you're going to be a professional ball player or a rock star or an astronaut or anything else, or a businessman, really. You need to understand what you love, understand what you fear. Don't let yourself ever be ruled by fear. Don't conquer your fears. Do the things you love. Do the things that you're passionate about. Do the things that will make you proud of you. And worry less about the things that make you afraid, and conquer the things that make you afraid. Sometimes people criticize NASA that they're motivated by failure, meaning that you're so afraid to fail, it's hard to succeed. Well, you can't work in that environment, so you got to just focus on what you love. People make a lot of decisions in life, mostly about passion, location, and money. There's a lot of people that have a lot of money, but they're not very happy. A lot of people are in the right location, but maybe not so happy. The passion is where most people will find their happiness. And hopefully it's in a good location and pays a lot of money. So be in control. Be in control of your destiny. Be in control of who you are. Be in control of where you go to the best of your abilities to be in control. Understand the fact that things are going to change along the way. Understand the fact that things are going to be very different as you go through a process. So a story. It's hard to be a fighter pilot for very long without a lot of emergencies and without a lot of things happening that you've got to react to. Same thing in the astronaut corps. We spend thousands and thousands of hours practicing for the things that can go wrong. Everything that anybody can imagine that can go wrong in that vehicle that's going to put out 7 million pounds of thrust at liftoff and is going to be better than any ride that you'll ever get at Disney World. And there's no question when those solid rocket boosters light off, a significant event has just occurred in your life. You're not sure where you're going to go. You have a plan, but it may not go according to your plan. And even on one of my last flights, or my last flight, we thought we had engine problems right at liftoff, which would have caused some significant issues had they been real. Turns out that they were data, but we didn't know that for a number of seconds as we were trying to go through the process of dealing with what was going to happen and how we were going to react to it. So you spend all these hours on those things that you can do something about. We also recognize the fact that there's things that can go on in a space shuttle that you can't do anything about. So why worry about it? Why sweat it? We strap in about 3.5 hours before liftoff. You have a lot of time to think. You're not very busy until you come out of what they call the 9-minute hold. And then you get pretty busy from that point forward. So we have time to think. We have time to crack jokes. We have time to take a little nap if you can. You have time to think through what you want to do. You have time to think about all the people that are out there in the stands at the Launch Control Center on the roof, your family, and out in the VIP stands, your friends and family, and out in the other viewing areas, and the cousins that you never knew you had that are coming to your launch. And you want to make it a good day for them because you know things can go wrong. You know those boosters can develop a leak. Anything more than about 60,000 pounds of thrust difference on those boosters will tear the whole vehicle apart. Can't do anything about it. If the main engine has a leak, it's probably going to be catastrophic. Can't do anything about it. If I have a bleed air leak or an oxygen leak, I can start doing things about that. So you focus on the things that you can change and just let the things you can't change understand that they're there, understand that they may become a reality, understand that it may not be your day if those things happen. The good news for those of us that get strapped in is if those events do occur, they're over very quickly. So it's not a whole lot to us. We'll get a school named after us or a street. But the rest of the family has to live on, and that's the hard part. So you know that you're taking a risk, but you truly believe that the gain is worth the risk that you take. Self-control, self-awareness, stay cool, deal with frustrations. I had a little event, another story, in an F4 Phantom, driving along, as I would call it, about 500 miles an hour, a couple hundred feet off the ground, with the new wingman that I had on my side, teaching him how to do low-altitude tactics, sneaking underneath radars to get to a target area. And I had a little collision with a little bird. And as birds go, it's a big bird. It was a buzzard. It was a turkey buzzard, a vulture. But that speed, that's probably like hitting a cannonball. So that bird came into the windscreen, broke through bulletproof glass, came in and beat me up pretty badly, caused a lot of bad things to happen inside the cockpit, busted the ejection seat. Nobody's eating lunch or meals, so blood, guts, and everything all over the instruments and the control panel and the windshields. And then that started the process. Now that started that my plan just got changed. So I had a plan, but my plan just got changed. So now what am I going to do? So it's instinctive, it's training, it's reaction, it's trade airspeed for altitude, get the airplane away from the ground, give yourself some time to think, slow it down. My first feeling, I guess it all, and as time expansion goes, it all happened in a few seconds, but it seemed like it was a long time. The first feeling I remember feeling was, I'm dreaming. This is just a bad dream. But then the pain set in, so yeah, it's not a bad dream. This is worse than somebody pinching me or pinching myself. This really hurts. I had a dislocated shoulder, crushed voice box, and a lot of contamination in an eye. I was wearing a mask, I was wearing a visor, and I saw it right before it hit, and I ducked. It split a very hard plastic fiberglass oxygen mask open, and a lot of stuff came up between the visor and the oxygen mask. Had I not had it down like that, it would have probably been fatal, but it wasn't. So next step, well, how's the airplane running? How's the airplane working? I got a guy in the back seat. He's covered in blood and guts, but I'm not hearing anything from him. Is that okay? Is the airplane working right? Do I got to eject out of the airplane? No? Okay, next step. I think I lost my eye. And lift the visor up. There's half a mirror there on one side. We have like these rear view mirrors, so we can see people coming on us sometimes. Lost half a canopy, lost the front windshield, can't move my shoulder, it's dislocated. My voice box was crushed, I can't talk. And my throat hurts. Blood's all over the place. Am I going to bleed to death? Look in the mirrors. I got blood all over, coming out of my neck, coming out of my shoulder, coming out of my face. Okay, so this isn't so good. What's the next part of the plan? You just kind of keep going through these steps because you can't give up. And that's the moral of the story is you just never give up. Because it's not going to change until you make it change, until you make something happen. Okay, I'm not bleeding to death. It's starting to dry. It's not coming out in big spurts, so I should be okay. What about that eye? Look at it. It's got stuff hanging out of the eye. Well, pick a little piece out, see what it looks like. Pick another little piece out. Pick some more pieces out. Finally, you realize that your eyeball is still there. It doesn't see anything, but it's there. Okay, well, now what's next? Now I got to start navigating and think about, oh, the guy in the back seat's calling me. Hey, is everything okay? I think you lost half your face. Are you all right? No, you can't speak, so you give him a little thumbs up in the mirror. Okay. And then, all right, what if I have to eject out of this airplane? How's that going to work? Oops. Half the parachute's hanging out the back side of the airplane because the ejection seat parachute container got busted and the parachute's flapping in the wind. Well, that's not good. If the parachute opens up, half my body goes with the parachute, the other half stays in the airplane. Should I unstrap or should I just, I don't know, if it hasn't done it by now, maybe it's just not going to go. All right, where do you go land? Guy in the back seat, okay, let's go land in this Air Force base nearby. No, I don't want to go do that. Why? Well, one, because it's an Air Force base and they're going to make me do all this medical testing and urinalysis and stay over at night, and they're going to take it really seriously. I don't want to go there. Two is I want to go home, which is 120 miles, maybe 20 minutes at the speed we're at. I'm familiar with the terrain. I can't see out the front windows, but I can see a little bit to the side, and might help me get to the side. I can't see out well enough to do an approach to land. I need a ground-controlled radar support help to get me down on the ground. Navy, Marine guys do it better than the Air Force guys. That's why I want to go there. I'm heavy on fuel. I got to dump some fuel. So hopefully none of you were living underneath that flight path that day because there was a lot of Jet A fuel that was getting poured out of that airplane to lighten up the airplane so we could get down to land. And if I go to Beaufort, South Carolina, which is where the base was, then maybe I can go in there and we can Band-Aid this thing up really quickly, and I don't have to stay out overnight anywhere and go home. So a lot of other things happen along the way. You finally come in, you land, you get there, you get strapped, you get out of the airplane. You go to the emergency room and they stitch you up and they're taking bone fragments and all kinds of things out of your shoulders and reset your shoulders. And then you call home and you're late for dinner. And it wasn't Brenda at the time. Brenda wouldn't have that reaction, but I got yelled at for being home late for dinner. And I was like, well, I just went through something. I'll tell you about it when I get home. Point of that whole thing is you just try to keep your cool as best you can. Try not to be emotional. Try to be logical. For those of you that are Eagle Scouts, I'm betting that most of your parents, if they ever have a discussion or argument with you, they'll find that you're more logical than emotional, which sometimes makes it more challenging sometimes, by the way. A couple more things and then I'll let you all go. Be proud of what you do. Be proud of who you are, whatever it is. If you're not proud of you, it's going to be really hard for others to be proud of you. There's a great feeling in having pride and being proud of yourself. There's a greater feeling being proud of your children. And there's even a greater feeling when your children are proud of you. So think about those things as you go forward in your lives because you have such a great, wonderful life ahead of you, really. You know, what's great about coming to here is one of the things I say is allow God to come in to your lives. The Boy Scouts do it well. You talk about it. We are one nation under God. There's a lot of folks out there that would probably like to do it differently. but it's the right way to do. Those are the principles. Those are the way we grew up. That's the way this nation was created. And that's what makes this the greatest nation on this planet. And even for the astronauts, who some are agnostics, you can't be out there in this galaxy. And this galaxy is one of billions and billions of galaxies. So Carl Sagan said it, that there's more stars in our big universe of billions of galaxies and billions of stars and all those hundreds of billions of galaxies. There's more stars in this large universe than we have individual grains of sand on this planet. So it's a lot. And so you can't help but be there and see the wisp of the Milky Way as you're out there in the atmosphere and not wonder how all this was put together and not really get a feeling that there's a higher power. Even those of us that are science and engineering folks that really just want to focus on prove it, show it. I want to see the data. Sometimes you just have to believe. Always treat people with respect and dignity. If they care about what they're doing and you care about what you're doing, then they deserve your respect. One of the better stories I've heard in the Apollo days was when President Johnson was visiting the Space Center in Florida prior to the Apollo program, prior to landing on the moon. And he saw a janitor and went up and talked to the janitor and asked him about how he was doing and what he was doing. And the janitor said, well, I'm helping this country get to the moon. He cared about what he was doing. And we should care in return. Success isn't about how much money you make or how many speeches you get to give or your accolades. It's about how you feel about yourself and how others feel about you. So if you care about what you're doing and people care about what they're doing, then they deserve all of your respect and dignity. Firefighters, policemen, teachers, they all rock and they all deserve our respect. And they're all out there trying to do a good job. And we should respect them for that. We're never above anybody else. We just have a different calling. Okay, so why do we go explore space? I can't get off the stage without saying something about space. Other than the fact that it's a great place to be, I wish I could take everybody there. We're in the early explorer days. Someday we'll actually have people that will go out and pioneer things out there in space. And someday we'll have settlers out there in space. We are a single planet species as far as we know, which means that we're not going to survive forever. A single planet species cannot survive. So we're doomed at some point in time. Someday our star is going to die and we're going to die along with it. So we have to get out and we have to move out. Space is what I call a soft power. It's a very powerful thing that shows how great the prowess of technology a country can have and how great a country can be. And there's a lot of countries out there in this world that are investing a lot of dollars and a lot of time and a lot of energy into spying on doing the things that we've done because they want to be in space. It's a technology driver. It's an economic engine. It's our future. And we need more engineers and scientists. There's 3 times as many lawyers there are in this country than there are engineers. I'm not qualified to say that that's a bad number for the lawyers, and that's too many. I would never say that. Lawyers care, so that means I respect them. But I do think that that's not enough engineers and scientists. And there's a lot of countries that spend a lot of time bringing in engineers and scientists to try to get that technology. Those history buffs that are out there, the great civilizations of the world have come and gone really because of their technology and their technological prowess. When they were the best, they were the dominant. When they weren't the best, somebody else was the dominant. It's a great return on interest. It always has been, always will be. It's a drop in the bucket from a national budget perspective. It's less than half a penny or about half a penny. Compared to a lot of other programs, it's not a lot of investment and there's guaranteed return. It's better than any 401k out there, I think. So you're probably going to get in the 8 to 10% return on the investment. So it's a great investment. There's a lot of the other things that go along with all of that, which is about inspiring youth, looking on, making sure that we're doing the right thing, keeping our prowess. It's a very sad thing and it's a frustrating thing. Back to dealing with staying cool and keeping in control is dealing with frustration. every day there's something that's frustrating that's going to happen, and every day we got to deal with it. It's tough to go visit Atlantis, which was the vehicle I flew my first flight on, that's on a pedestal at the Kennedy Space Center, when less than half its life was used. So it still had more than 50 or 60 flights left on it. But we ran out of money as a country and decided we didn't want to do that. So we rely on another nation to take us up to our space station, what I think is our space station, or predominantly our space station. So I guess as I try to get off the stage, especially for the young folks that have a much longer future than at least I hope you do, is to think about that journey and think about where we may go and what it might be like in 300 or 400 years. You know, we're still way back in the Plymouth Rock when it looks at us, when we look at it, what it's like from a space perspective. We're still thinking that the world is flat. We're still back in that regime. There's so much out there. That's such an exciting place to go. And some of you are going to get to go if you so desire to get to go there. I wish you all the very best of luck. I wish you all the very best of times. I wish you all the very best journey that you could possibly have. And there probably isn't a young Eagle Scout in this room that I would not be happy to have take my place. All right, so thank you all very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy,
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
it. I'd like to give to you a small token of our appreciation for your excellent presentation today.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, as we prepare for the Eagle presentation, I would like to give you a few thoughts on being an Eagle Scout. When I think of an Eagle Scout, I think of some powerful descriptions: commitment, devotion, dedication, success, leader, fairness, determined, and outdoorsman. In obtaining the Eagle rank in 6 to 8 years, you have demonstrated these qualities. What's next? First, college. Colleges, especially private schools, want Eagle Scouts on their campus. Great example, David Lipscomb University. President Dr. Randy Lowry wants Eagle Scouts on his college campus, to the degree that if you're an Eagle Scout, he will accept your application and give you a $10,000 scholarship. My son was an Eagle Scout a couple of years ago, and he was accepted by several colleges that his classmates who actually had better GPAs were not accepted by. He was amazed at the power of being an Eagle Scout on your college application. Next, getting a job. Employers want Eagle Scouts. A friend of mine was in probably one of the largest architecture firms in Nashville, and he was a hiring partner. And he told me one day when we were talking that he just simply, if he had an Eagle Scout, he was going to hire him. The Eagle rank will open doors. And then family. As these young men grow up, they will have families. If they have a son, they may start a second career in scouting, kind of like I did. And the beauty of that, and the beauty of all our volunteers, is the enjoyment and value of watching young boys mature into responsible men through scouting. So why the preference? Why the advantage? In my opinion, it's pretty simple. Number one, it's core values: trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. It's leadership. For our Eagle Scouts, it's that extra dedication to accomplishing and finishing a task. In my closing, I would say to the Eagle Scouts, you have achieved the rank of Eagle. Now you will always be an Eagle. We will now begin our presentation of the 2014 Eagle Scouts Venturing Silver Award and Quartermaster Award. This year, our Scouts will walk across the stage and receive the neckerchief from our Council President, Mr. J.B. Baker, and our Scout Executive, Mr. Larry Brown. They will return to their table, where their table host will present them with the Eagle neckerchief. We ask that you hold your applause until the end in order to dignify the moment for each Scout passing before you today. And finally, to purchase photographs from today's event, please visit the Middle Tennessee Council website, which is www.mtc, Middle Tennessee Council, bsa.org. Thank you.
Tyler Douglas Forsberg. Austin Jens Forsberg. Samuel Anderson Beams. Reese Nolan Bennett. Lindis Patton. Charles Edward Maynard, Jr. Brian Tyler Akers. James Dale Lyon. Ryan Kirk Anderson. Ian Douglas Olish. Nash Haywood Binkley. William Buford McMasters. Darren Joseph May. James Keith Besant. James Hunter Boyd. Joseph Andrew Boyd. Stephen Alexander Boyle II. Blaine Wesley Burke. Jacob Lee McGray. Thomas Kelly Austin III. Evan Andrew Brock. Jason Joseph Alexander. Richard Aaron Brown.
I'll release you. You just keep going, okay? Go.
Richard Alex Brown.
Okay, we've got this gentleman in front of us here. Okay. Okay. Push going in what fans?
Ethan Curtis Judkins.
Wait right here. Hold. He's going to come back.
Jonathan Eric Brown. James Michael Loretta. Micah Lee Burkhart.
Just keep walking.
Mitchell Austin Burkhart.
Keep walking.
Peyton Allen Knowles. Jefferson David Lacates, Jr. Zachary Kenneth Connolly. Caleb Allen Lindsay. Logan Paul Bennett. Paul Robert Benny, Jr. Thomas Edwin Lamb III. Jonathan Thomas Kelly. Alexander David Kane. Charles Stephen Capps. Justin Randolph Byrne. Michael Andrew Burkett. Matthew Austin Carey. Christopher Julius Jones II. Andrew Mack Beard. Michael Stephen Fox. William Caleb Barton. Griffin Kemp Bauer. Nicholas Allen Christie. Daniel Robert Bronner. Remington Kyler Chambers. Brett Gregory Carson. Hunter Bailey Champion. Warner Miller Civets. Benjamin David Cody. Luke Manning Clement.
Go.
Cameron Joseph Colley.
Just keep going.
Nathaniel Joseph Clark. Will McLean Johnston. Hayden Alexander Carr. Jacob Darius Easter.
Go. Finucane.
Brendan Edward Finucane III.
Go.
Glenn Christopher Doty.
Go.
Jordan Blake Dodson. John Wesley Dennis.
Go.
Carter Norris Davidson. Taylor Austin Duvall.
Go.
Samuel Ellis Farmer.
Go. Keep going. Keep going.
Mark Naguib.
Go.
John William Mosley.
Go.
Matthew Thomas Mosley.
Go.
William A. Wright. Ross Pierce Hopkins. Hunter Evan York. Joseph Christian Howell.
Go.
Mitchell David Winston.
Go.
Chris Brown.
Go.
Justin Timothy Wood.
Go.
Alexander Nash Parker.
Go.
Stephen Edward Jacobs.
Go.
Spencer William White. Nathaniel Scott Paris.
Go.
William David Whitefield. Jackson Kyle Wilt. Gerald Charles Wilkins III.
Go.
Dalton Alexander Wallace.
Go.
Douglas Allen Oakley.
Go.
Hayden Thomas Hilt. John David Hill. Cole Wesley Howell. Benjamin Webb. Jackson Russell Horn. Nicholas John Wagner. Jacob Alexander Walters. Daniel Kent Hubin. Cody Dawson Hughes. Macon N. Webster. Brian David Hollis. John Robert Hershey. Andrew Roger Towell. Daniel Taylor Ray.
Not really sure.
Jason David Randolph. Tanner Keith Reese. Jonah Matthew Ralston. Isaac William Rafi. Nicholas Allen Robinson.
Comus.
Tacomas Nathan Rich. Caleb J. Ross. Trevor Douglas Reese. David Oglesby Hancock. Jeffrey Alexander Ryan. Weston Timothy Roundtree. David Gerald Shoulders. Isaac Brian Thomas.
Vukolich.
John Michael Vukolich. Cochran Gray Tettleton. James Alexander Hall. Jacob Daniel Sanders.
Sadler.
Christopher Scott Sadler.
Hasley.
Isaac James Hasley.
Behi Habib.
Behi Habib.
Good job, Dwayne.
Kyler Ashton Hankins. Michael Ryan Hancock.
Hand shy.
Samuel Kent Hanshy. Jonathan Parker Gillum. Miller Caldwell Garnett. Xander Thomas Taylor. Ezekiel A. Streetman. Joshua David Garton.
Teague. Just keep going.
Bryce James Teague.
Just keep walking.
Jesse Lee Franklin. Brandon Allen Roy. James Scott Smith. Chad Lantrip Goodman.
Solid.
Jeremy Adam Seiler. Mark Allen Smith. Simpson Bobo Tanner V. Jacob Xavier Sullivan. Noah Michael Springer. Daryl Ernest Smith III.
Stop. Just keep walking. Once I release you. Go. Hey, bud. Sorensen.
Chase Andrew Smith.
Sorensen. Keep walking.
Quinn Mackenzie Sorensen.
Just keep walking.
Morgan Jefferson Smith. William Brandon Keith Skinner. Russell Amon Flade. Evan Michael Garton. Garrett Edward Moore. Michael Nally Milam. Hunter Orion Mitchell. Joseph Atlas Mitchell.
There was a sign up here that says, "We now present the Venture Scout." There it is. Read that statement.
And now we present the Venturing Silver and Sea Scout Quartermaster for 2014. Briley E. Scantland.
Peterman. Go. Sutherland. Sutherland.
David Peterman.
Sutherland. Okay, go. Kowalski.
Alexandra Nadine Sutherland.
Kowalski. Go.
Brooke L. Kowalski.
Michael Finney. Go.
Michael Finney.
These are two quartermasters. Crawley. Okay. Go.
David Lewis Crawley.
Foley. Go. Let's keep going.
Mark Edward Foley, Jr.
Yes. That's it. Good job, buddy. Yes, go ahead. And we're going to call you back up at 10, so go to your seat and then come back up right after as Congressman Cooper's talking. Make your way back here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Good job.
I give you the 2014 Eagle Scouts Venturing Civil Award and Quartermaster recipients. Thank you. There's one more statement of importance I would like to make to these young men and women. Don't forget those who are here and have helped you along the way, your parents and leaders. Without them, you would not be where you are today. So, parents, leaders, please stand and be recognized. Thank you, and congratulations to all the Scouts. Next, the Silver Beaver. The Silver Beaver is the highest award that can be given to a Scout volunteer. The qualifications for the Silver Beaver are, first, noteworthy display of exceptional character to youth in the Scouting program. Second, involvement in community service. And third, being a registered Scout. With us today are Chancellor J.B. Cox and Scout Executive Larry Brown that will present these. Gentlemen, please come forward. Thank you, Chancellor Cox.
Appreciate it. This is not my first opportunity to say that I'm thankful that I serve on such a good committee. We always put in a lot of difficult work to try to make sure that we have, for your consideration and for the honor of our council, good Silver Beaver Award recipients. This year is no different, although it may be the most interesting year I've ever experienced chairing the committee. We have for your consideration today 10 good folks, but before we bring them on, I want to take an opportunity to recognize past Silver Beaver recipients. In the back of your program, just to the back of their bios, are the past Silver Beaver recipients. You'll note that they begin from 1931 and come forward. If you have an opportunity to talk to your Eagle Scout sometimes, it might be something that they would like to aspire to because of what service it means. It is the highest award that we can give as a council for service to the unit, to the district, and to the council. And if you're here and you're on this list today, or even if we've left you out, at this time, as a Silver Beaver recipient, please stand up to be recognized. You will also note at the very end of your program on those pages, there are two other considerations there who apparently are in the wrong species. The region's highest award for service is the Silver Antelope. You'll see the list of those folks here. They've taken it up one more level. And if you're here and you're a Silver Antelope recipient today, please stand to be recognized. The national species for us is the silver buffalo, not to make light of the service that it takes to be able to be considered, much less achieve this award. And the folks who have been honored by that award in our council appear under the silver buffalo list. I guess near to my heart and most recently is Dr. Lay on that particular award. But if you're here and are a silver buffalo, please stand to be recognized. Never let a chancellor have a podium for too long. It just creates problems. So without further ado, we will begin this year's ceremony of awarding Silver Beaver recipients their award. And so that you won't think that we Silver Beavers do not like to serve, our award this year is also going to be narrated by 1996 recipient Paul Randall Dickerson. Paul?
Karen Bengston. Karen has served America's youth as PAC 253 Den Leader, Webelos Leader, Cub Master, and committee members of Troops 777 and 150. She's currently serving as the Hermitage District Commissioner and has been Day Camp Director, Roundtable staff member, and founded the Twilight Camp in Hermitage. On the council level, Karen's been Day Camp Advisor and CAP Day Camp Assessment Team Leader and a University of Scouting instructor. The Commissioner Award of Excellence in Unit Service, the James E. West Fellowship Award, God in Service Award, and the Long Rifle are among the honors she's received. She's known for her devotion to kids, especially through her 8+ years as a registered adult leader. The Middle Tennessee Council is honored to confer the Silver Beaver Award to Karen Bengston. Bobby W. Brown. In his 10 years of adult scouting service, Bobby's been Troop 1 committee member and assistant scoutmaster. On the district level, he's been a unit commissioner and training committee member, district committee member, and Order of the Arrow chapter advisor. At the council level, the Dean of College of Boy Scouting, University of Scouting 2010, he earned his Wood Badge beads on SR 796, staffed Wood Badge SR 936 as a troop guide. He's the Order of the Arrow treasurer, advisor, and current lodge advisor. His scouting awards include the Order of the Arrow Vigil Honor, the Long Rifle Award, the Faithful Servant Religious Award, and the James E. West Fellowship. It is with pleasure that the Middle Tennessee Council honors Bobby W. Brown with the Silver Beaver Award. Woody B. Hall. Woody's focus is on growing membership in Scout Troop 594. During his scouting service, Woody has served as Tiger Leader, Cub Master, Assistant Wolf Leader, Webelos Leader, Scout Master, and Venture Crew Advisor on the unit level. On the district level, he's been a day camp volunteer, Cub and family staff member, roundtable staff for Cub Scouts, unit commissioner, and trainer for District Cub Scout specific Webelos class, an introduction to scouting leadership skills course director. His council service includes Wood Badge staff on SR 868, outdoor leadership skills Scoutmaster course director, National Jamboree Scoutmaster, and summer camp kickoff speaker. Recently, he became the 2015 Lodge Associate Advisor for Vice Chief of Activities. His service extends to his community as he developed Park Cleanup Month, cleanup days at school, scouting for food, annual toy drives, and advised Eagle Scout candidates with Eagle projects to benefit the community. In honor of his continued service to scouting, the Middle Tennessee Council is pleased to confer the Silver Beaver Award upon Woody B. Hall. Gregory Hines, MD. Dr. Hines began scouting with Troop 98 in Huntsville, Texas in 1981. He attended summer and high adventure base camps, including Florida Sea Base and Philmont Scout Reservation. He received his Eagle Scout badge in 1987. He worked for 7 years at Camp Strake in Conroe, Texas, in various positions before becoming camp commissioner. He was elevated to the Vigil Honor of the Order of the Arrow. Dr. Hines attended the international encampments for 3 years, hosted scouts from all over the world. After moving to Lawrenceburg, he joined Troop 265 as Troop Committee Chairman and assumed Scoutmastership, where he continues to this day. He received Wood Badge beads on course SR 1013 and was honored with the District Award of Merit in 2011. The Middle Tennessee Council is pleased to bestow the prestigious Silver Beaver Award to Gregory Hines, MD. William D. Lanham, Jr. Dave began in scouting as a youth at Hendersonville First United Methodist Church. On the unit level, he's been a den leader, assistant scoutmaster, crew advisor, and committee member. In the Cherokee District, he served as district commissioner, district committee member, district advancement chair, training chair, unit commissioner, and a planner for the spring camporee. On the council level, he served as University of Scouting assistant dean of general studies, training committee member, Wood Badge participant, EDGE course director, and NISA Awards committee chair. Among his scouting activities, in addition to being an Eagle Scout, he received his Scouters Training Award, the William Boyce Award, District Award of Merit, District Committee Key, NISA Lifetime Membership, and OA Ordeal. It is with pleasure that the Middle Tennessee Council presents the Silver Beaver to Dave Lanham. Steve Leddy. Steve has 23 years in scouting. He's been a unit-level park committee member chairman, Webelos leader, troop committee chairman, assistant scoutmaster, venturing crew leader, and crew committee chair. On the district level, he's been a Tennessee Tech MBU instructor, Cumberland University MBU Merit Badge counselor, district chaplain, district religious emblem coordinator, Friends of Scouting Division Chair, and Unit Commissioner. On the council level, he's been a voting delegate for the National Council at the national meeting, received his Wood Badge beads on SR 587, National Philmont Training Center instructor, and was on the Religion Relationship Task Force. Steve's community involvement includes the Society of Certified Insurance Counselors, Rotary Club, Lipscomb University Business Advisory Council, and Tau Phi Social Fraternity. He's received the Long Rifle Award, William D. Boyce Award, and is most proud of his Eagle Father pin. The Middle Tennessee Council is proud to award the Silver Beaver to Steve Leddy. Keith Napier. Keith's unit level service includes Tiger Cub Leader, Assistant Scout Master, Cub Master, and Crew Adult Leader, Florida Sea Base. On the council level, he served with the Council Board of Directors, Sporting Clay Fun Shoot Committee member, as well as chairman of the committee. Keith received the Eagle Scout Award, Order of the Arrow Brotherhood, Keith Cross Award, and the Golden Nest Award. The Middle Tennessee Council is proud to recognize his outstanding service by presenting the Silver Beaver Award to Keith Napier. Gail Plucker. Gail has served scouting for 18 years as an adult volunteer. Gail's been a tiger, wolf, bear, and webelos leader, pack trainer, and commission chair for Pack 6. She's been a committee member and assistant scoutmaster for Troop 86 and served Troop 92 as committee member and committee chair. On the council label, Gail has served the assistant council commissioner, as currently serving her second year as council commissioner. She is the recipient of the District Award of Merit, Scouter's Key. She's been on the Wood Badge staff and the National Jamboree staff. For her continuing dedication to the promotion of scouting, the Middle Tennessee Council is pleased to present the Silver Beaver Award to Gail Plucker. Ann Randolph. Ann began as a tiger den leader and moved on to wolf, bear, and webelos leader. She served as pack committee chair, popcorn chair, troop committee chair, advancement chair, and associate crew advisor. In the Upperland Cumberland District, she has served as activities chair, day camp director, webelos weekend chair, webelos crossover chair, Cub and Family Committee member, and on Baloo and Cub Scout training staffs. She's assisted with 2 council jamborees, serving as activities chair. She served as static display chair, University of Cub Scouting Scout Dean, the Cub and Family Director, and on the National Meeting Host Committee. She's received the Distinguished Award of Merit, Tiger Den Leader Award, Webelos Award, Scout Leaders Training Award, and was on Wood Badge SR 1013. The Middle Tennessee Council is proud to award the Silver Beaver to Ann Randolph.
So thank you, JB. Thank you, Larry. And what a distinguished group of adult leaders. As I was listening to all that they've done, I just thought how many countless thousands of hours for scouting walked across the stage. Let's give them another round of applause while they're doing scouting. We are very fortunate today to have with us United States Congressman Jim Cooper. Congressman Cooper has been a longtime supporter of the scouting program and a great community leader. At this time, I would like to have Congressman Jim Cooper give us a few words of encouragement. Congressman Cooper.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon. Greg's done a great job chairing this wonderful meeting because we're all here to celebrate one thing: our outstanding young men and women, particularly our young men, our Eagle Scouts. And my challenge today is simple. Keep on living up to your full God-given potential. As we heard from astronaut Allen today, the sky is no longer the limit. It's more like the stars and the galaxies. And he said it right here. Another planet is probably a necessity. That's an amazing charge, but our young people today under this program of scouting have gotten the best start of any group of young people in the world. We have so much to be thankful for as you drive home safely this afternoon. Please let's count our blessings, because many young people in many parts of America don't have the great scouting council that we've got here with the Middle Tennessee Council. This is one of the best in the whole country. I think we all realize that we live in the volunteer state, which is one of the best states in America, and I hope that we all appreciate that our country, the United States of America, is the greatest country on earth or in the history of the world. And these young people are our leaders. They have gotten the greatest start that any group could get. Let's celebrate them, and let's look forward to even bigger and better things in the future. Thanks for being here today, and congratulations, Scouts.
This has been a wonderful, great event today. Congratulations to the young men and women on their achievement, as well as the Silver Beaver recipients. Also, congratulations to Steve Eubank, Joe Russell, as the 2014 Eagle honorees. Also, Garrett Miller and Michael Fox for the Walter Courtney Eagle Scout Scholarship, and again, to Michael Fox for the Adams National Eagle Scout Award. I would first like to ask Pete Ezell to come out. I want to make a special thanks to Pete. He served as the Eagle Mentor Chair at this great event. Thank you, Pete.
You're welcome.
Next, I'd like to ask Paula McLean, Deborah Johnson, Paul Randolph Dickerson, and Dwayne Hickey to join me on stage. These are our committee members for this great event and the ones that helped make it happen. Through their hard work and creative thinking, we've had this event today. On behalf of the Middle Tennessee Council, please accept a token of our appreciation for your hard work on making today a success. Thank you. As you are leaving, the Middle Tennessee Council NESA committee has council shoulder patches that are available for sale that will fund future scholarships. If you would like, please stop by our trading post today or the Nashville Scout Shop. Also, if you pre-ordered the Eagle t-shirt, be sure and pick it up before you leave at the trading post. Again, thank you, Mr. Allen, for a great speech to our Eagle Scouts. Very encouraging. Teach them to be brave. Thanks to everyone for attending our 2015 Eagle Scout recognition. Please drive home safely, and we are adjourned.